What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated three-division world champion who simultaneously held the WBA super title at super featherweight, WBA regular title at lightweight, WBA regular title at junior welterweight, superstar boxer Javonte Tank Davis, who now holds a record of 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 26 big wins by way of knockout. He is 28 years of age, 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. He continues to go back and forth with Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is now trolling Javonte Tank Davis after some recent comments that Eddie Hearn made about Javonte Tank Davis. To which Eddie Hearn, he alluded to Javonte Tank Davis not being able to comprehend. He didn't allude. He said he can't comprehend, and stated that Javonte Tank Davis is dangerous because of that. Okay, which essentially he said Javonte Tank Davis is not smart. Okay, so Javonte Tank Davis, he responded by saying that he was smart enough not to take the deal that Eddie Hearn was offering because he had bigger money and bigger plays, right? So he was smart enough then, he can comprehend then, right? And this is unfortunate because it has a racial undertone to it, right? And Eddie Hearn, he compared Javonte Tank Davis to legendary retired Hall of Fame iconic superstar boxer Iron Mike Tyson. So he compared him to Iron Mike Tyson, right? To which Iron Mike Tyson is viewed as somebody in the past that wasn't very bright. That was the perception that surrounded Iron Mike Tyson. Okay, and so because of that, it's unfortunate the choice of words that Eddie Hearn used to describe Javonte Tank Davis is truly unfortunate. So let's listen to what Eddie Hearn had to say. He said, "quote The dangerous thing about Javonte Tank Davis is he's not a deep thinker, not articulate, right?" Then he tries to clean it up by saying, "I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. He's a bad dude like Mike Tyson. That makes him dangerous because he's fearless. You can't get into his head, right?" So essentially, you're saying that he's just not smart enough to articulate what his opponents or anybody else is trying to do and get across on him. But because he don't comprehend, it doesn't bother him, right? And Javonte Tank Davis responded by saying, quote, "Not a deep thinker and not articulate made me not sign that nonsense contract you offered," right? And then he goes on to say, Javonte Tank Davis goes on to say, "Don't you try to judge us like you don't have flaws, okay?" And he used us. He used the word us, right? And now Eddie Hearn is trolling Javonte Tank Davis, putting up pictures of himself with Javonte Tank Davis, and said this was me and Javonte Tank Davis 6 years ago. Okay, um, Eddie Hearn, is irresponsible as a promoter, as a man in his position, to take this stance because, uh, it's he has other African American fighters that he's going to be seeking out, and he has black fighters over in the UK that he works with. Um, but his father, when they had an interview in the press conference with Dillian White, he used some words, a choice of words to say that, African American or black fighters, now have a voice and have a word. Before they didn't have a voice. They didn't have, they didn't have a stance. It's unfortunate, and Eddie Hearn, thinks that it's funny. He's taking it as if it's a joke. But what Eddie Hearn doesn't realize is that Javonte Tank Davis is quickly becoming the face of the sport of boxing, and there's many fighters coming up behind Javonte Tank Davis. Now, again, Javonte Tank Davis's career is going to expire before Eddie Hearn's because let's face it, a boxer has a short window. He has a ceiling, right? Eddie Hearn, as a promoter, you could promote fights until Bob Arum is 90 years old, right? So you can promote fights in forever, okay? But you can't fight forever. But the thing about this is, Javonte Tank Davis is going to have a lasting effect on the generation coming up behind him, okay? And Eddie Hearn is going to want to delve into the generation of fighters coming up behind Javonte Tank Davis, and they're going to see how this is unfolding and playing out. And Javonte Tank Davis is going to have a grave impression on these young fighters in this generation coming up behind him. Javonte Tank Davis is, again, like I stated, he's quickly becoming the face of the sport of boxing. Javonte Tank Davis is breaking records every single day. Okay, every time he steps in the ring, Javonte Tank Davis is breaking records every single time he steps in the ring. His last fight, May 28th, in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, Javonte Tank Davis, he fought against Rolando Rolly Romero. Rolando Rolly Romero came into that fight 14 wins, no loss, and no draw, 12 wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. He never had a title fight, never defended a title, and never won a title. And yet Javonte Tank Davis, he fought and beat Rolando Rolly Romero, and Rolly Romero hadn't had a marquee big fight, okay? And they did the biggest gate in boxing at the Barclays Center at a $5 million gate, right? That's the biggest gate in all of boxing that's take place at the Barclays Center. Then he fought against WBA super featherweight world champion Dominican star boxer Hector Garcia, okay, who came in 16 wins, no loss, no draw, 10 wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 5'9" with a 67-inch arm reach. He had two marquee fights, but they were upsets. Okay, he fought against Christopher Colbert, Little B-Hop prime time. He fought against him. That was an upset. He was the underdog, and then he fought and beat Gutierrez for the WBA title. Once again, he was the underdog in that fight. So he had two upsets wins, and he was confident coming in the fight. Southpaw Olympian, okay. But he moved up a division, and they fought the Capital One Arena in Washington D.C. Tank Davis now is from Baltimore. They fought Washington D.C. and once again Javonte Tank Davis breaks a record, and it did a reported $5.2 million gate. Okay, so he broke a record again. He sold out the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. He sold out the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. So Javonte Tank Davis, is a massive draw, and again, he has a huge impression on the generation coming up behind him. And Eddie Hearn, a person in his position, he should want to make amends with Javonte Tank Davis, not troll him, because you're going to want to look to sign fighters coming up behind Javonte Tank Davis. And Javonte Tank Davis has GTD Promotions, Javonte Tank Davis Promotions, which could very well be a major player in the long run in the sport of boxing, his promotional company. And you may need to do business with Javonte Tank Davis to make fights for your fighters, and can't get fights for your fighters, right? Or not be able to sign fighters. So there's a lot that come along with this, and Eddie Hearn should tread lightly. And Eddie Hearn being in this position, you're wrong. Okay, the words you spoke to describe Javonte Tank Davis was wrong. It was out of bounds. Okay, to say that he can't articulate and to say that he can't comprehend, that's out of bounds. Okay, it's disrespectful and it's out of bounds. And now, to double down on it, you're trolling him and putting up pictures of you and Javonte Tank Davis talking about this is us 6 years ago. But you just tried to sign Javonte Tank Davis to make a fight, for Javonte Tank Davis to fight, fighters such as Conor Benn and fighters that he have in his stable, right? Javonte Davis is going to mess up business for Eddie Hearn in the long run. Eddie Hearn is not looking at the big picture, right? He's not looking at what Javonte Tank Davis can very well blossom into and the power that he could become in the sport of boxing. Eddie Hearn is not looking at that. He's not taking that into consideration. And because he's not taking that into consideration, he can very well hurt his business, and that can, put a cap on how many fighters want to sign with Eddie Hearn. This is a very, very tricky game that he's playing. And on top of it, he's wrong. You're completely in the wrong. Okay, there's other words to describe. If you feel like, Javonte Tank Davis is cold, stone cold, he don't pay attention, he don't let nothing get to him, then you can use those words. But to say he can't comprehend and can't articulate, that's completely out of bounds. And on top of that, Eddie Hearn just recently stated that his number one fighter who helped him make a name for himself in Anthony Joshua, he loses his next fight, his career is over. So Eddie Hearn needs to tread lightly, in my opinion, how he does business with fighters moving forward. and how he handles this situation with Javonte Tank Davis, it would behoove him to just go ahead and apologize to Javonte Tank Davis and just say you didn't mean anything by it and let bygones be bygones. Don't double down. Don't make it worse. But that's exactly what he's doing. He's doubled down and making it worse. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.